Hi guys, welcome to my channel. You're with Teeny, you're drawn today. And today we're going to be drawing Captain America. I'm going to be giving you a tutorial on how to do it. This is my first video and hope you like it. So, I will leave a link in the description of the photo that I'm referencing. I am using reference. I think it's okay to use reference as long as you interpret your own styles and eventually work to not using reference, but I still use reference. So we're getting started here. I always just start with a circle. Put a circle in the center of the page. And that's for the start of his face. And now we'll work in that face shape. Okay. And we'll give him a nice center line. He's looking a little bit to that side. Give him a little bit of a neck. And we'll work in the torso. So his body is kind of shifted to this way, if you can tell by the way I'm drawing it. His neck is like kind of like that almost. And we'll put in the center line for his body. His torso is facing that way, but his arms are out. It's like you gotta find the center of mass for him. Okay. I'm not drawing a full body view on this one. This is just like the head and torso view. Working in the arms. I will be coloring this drawing with full color, and I will be using alcohol markers. I'm just using a normal Bic pencil, mechanical pencil. It's a 0.5 millimeter lead. You can find it at any basic like supply store. So the back arm is kind of like hidden behind his chest. So you got a little bit of foreshadowing in there. Kind of like that. Then his arm comes down to here. And he has like his shield on his back, so you're going to get like a little bit of the shield back there. And a little bit of it up here. Again, if you want to use this photo as you're following along, there is a link in the description. And now working into his belt. He's got some pouches on his belt. I like the big center buckle. I'll be adding much more detail on this later, but just getting the basic shapes down. Okay, and then work it into the legs just a little bit. Okay, let's get the gloves and fists going in. That's where the glove line will be. Make the gloves just stick out just a little bit to show the difference between the actual shirt and the glove. So that's the glove, and then we'll do his fist here. Give him some shape to the fist. The goal is to really make it turn from a drawing into looking like an actual person or a image. actually gonna turn that arm just a little bit so that it's facing more downwards. And it's coming behind the belt a little bit here before it sticks out for the glove. Okay, so those are the basic shapes. Alright, now we're gonna go back up to the face and start working in just a little bit of finer details. I want to leave enough so that it's fun to ink. Okay, we'll give him a center line for his eyes, then a little ways down for the nose, and finally one for the mouth. That way you can really get your proportions right. So there's the mask. He's wearing his mask in this one, he doesn't have the hair. And, oops, no, I want that to go down to there. And there's his little mask. Again, these are still like very rough sketches. That's going down just a little bit. As I'm putting in the finer lines, I'm making my lines just a little bit darker, but you do want to leave them thin enough so that they're easy enough to erase without wrecking the whole piece. Get some little ear shape in there. Okay, and then that's his eye line, so you want the eyes to go in there. He's got those little holes in the mask for his eyes. Just like that. And right here we do his nose, coming down here. His nose. Yeah, like that. I redid that. You can always erase. I'm gonna leave the nose like that for just a second. I'm not doing well on the nose right now. Oh, I want it to go that way just a little bit. And then the mouth. I'm gonna give him that little lip shape there before it goes in. Okay. And then we'll put in the eyes just a little bit of there's the eyebrows. He's pretty angry in this photo. Kind of just looking off into the distance. Just making it easy enough. And he's got the Avengers. Or actually, no, that's for Captain America. That's not the Avengers. But he's got the little A on his head. Okay. And so now we'll get into the details on the body. Okay. And you want to get his collar. His collar goes down like this. Make sure you leave that center line, like you want to follow that the whole time. That's the shield back there, and that has some little like straps on it where his hands would go on it. And he's got the straps coming down here. And those go like right into the armpits. Those just come up. On this side, they're a lot more faint since he's facing that way, so you can't even really see that part of him. but you do want to get them in there a little bit just so that you're not missing a part of him. There's the collar. I'm gonna add a line there. I don't like to show the details. And the star in the center of his chest, the classic Captain America logo. Okay, I realize that it's not the best star, but it will do for now. I will make it just better once I go in for more details. And it has like kind of like a shadow around it. It's got like a fading out star over here going around it. And that actually does go into the strap on there. Okay, and then right here it comes in with the part of him, like the stripes on his chest, the red, white, and blue. You already got the star, now you gotta get the stripes. It's got like a little latch on the shoulder straps. With just some lines in there. Alright, now he's got like a shoulder pad over here. Put that in. And it's got a little badge on it. And we're just working in the thin lines on this. Just some finer details on it. Alright, and he's got like a little, all those stars and stripes. And a little bit of an elbow guard showing. Okay, now we'll work down into that right glove. There's not much detail on this one. It's more colors. We'll get to the colors later. Alright, and then onto the other arm. Get that shoulder pad more prominent on there. There's also that shield on that side. And then he's got a stripe there. One of these. This glove has more detail since it's rotated the way with all those lines on it. Alright, now we'll put in a little bit more details on the belt. Those pouches have some colors on them. A little bit of 3D on there. You want to make sure you can make your drawing as lifelike as possible. There's the little attachment to the center belt, the center part of that belt. This one actually like curves into here. And the same thing on there, that attachment to the center part. And then that final pocket, it's mostly the side of it, but then you get just a little bit of that. Okay, now for finally the pants. It's actually quite a bit of details on the pants, more than you'd think. Normally pants don't have that many details. final details. Alright, and that is it sketched. Alright, so now onto the inks. I'm going to use this protective sheet so that it doesn't bleed through on the table, hurt the table. And I'm going to use Pigma Microns to ink it. I've got the 02 for the finer lines and the 05 for the thicker lines. Start off with the 05. And I'm just going to go in here and just start inking some of the main stuff. I'm using the 05 right now. Don't want to go in like with the eyes. I'll use the 02 and stuff for those smaller lines that I just want to be more precise on. We're just going for ink in the face. If you don't have any marker is fine. If you have like a thin Sharpie, that'll do. Eventually if you want to make your art better, you should try to get like the better products that will enhance it. But if all you have is like a Sharpie, that's still cool. And I'm just like putting that little shield spot back there. Make sure you like thicken up that line even just a little bit, just so that you can actually like see the difference between the clothing and the shield. Same thing over here. Thicken up that line over there so that there's like just a little bit of a shadow. Putting that outer layer. I'm actually going to give it like a little bit of a bridge at the nose there. Okay. And I'm going to give him some like, just a little, some extra detailed lines. Those shoulder straps. So this is your final. Like, if you mess up on this, you can't erase it. The pencil you can fix. So make sure you really get down the lines that you want for this. Again, that shield in there, I'm going to thicken up those lines on the outers. There's also that strap, you want to get in that strap good. That belt buckle is actually sticking out from the strap a little bit. That buckle on the strap. Got that line in there. Again, if you need help, like actually looking at it, and if mine isn't as clear as it should be, you can use the actual image that I am referencing. I will have that in the description. That's actually like a guard there. I'm not actually following it exactly. I am adding my own things and parts of it. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel and turn on those notifications so that you can see whenever I post a new drawing tutorial. I will release I'll release a fast forward, like a time lapse of this drawing, so that if you just want to watch it, you can see it in full motion and fast. If you don't want to sit through the whole tutorial, if you just want to see me draw it. Most of the time, I will be drawing either like TV characters or superheroes. Marvel characters are my favorite to draw, but I will draw some like superheroes and stuff like, TV characters and other movie characters. Alright, I am going to go back in with my pencil, and I'm going to fix that star, because that star is trash. Make sure I don't hit those lines, because those lines probably haven't quite dried, and I do not want to smudge this at all. Some more lead. Get that center line, because it was not lined up last time. I want to make sure that point is on that center line. I'm not very good at drawing stars, if you can't tell. Never know like which way to point it. That's a little bit better. It's definitely better. Still not a perfect star, but I think that will do. I want to make sure I get that outline on there. Right. That is looking decent, and I'm gonna put back in those lines that I kind of took away when I fixed it. There's one right there, and coming off there. Alright, go back to the inking. There we go. Wait, no, that's the 02. I'll actually use that on the eyes right now. I'm leaving like a little bit of highlight space so that the eye's not just completely dark. Just do the best you can. The facial features are always the hardest for me. I'm not the best at them. I do better when I don't have to draw hair. I'm not great at drawing hair, but I try. I'm working towards being better at it. Going back to the 05. I'm gonna work in the gloves down here. Put in the belt. That's mostly the side on that last one. Alright, now I'm actually gonna do the star. Hopefully it looks good. At least hopefully it doesn't look horrible. Which I don't think it will. I think it came out decent. Get that, make it like a little bit 3D by putting those lines in there. And then got that shadow for the star, that outer line on it. Okay, now we'll work down into this arm. Adding some details on the glove here. We'll do that fist. Hands are always hard for me also. I do a lot better with reference on hands. Just a trick that I learned to use for hands is if you actually take a picture of your hand in that position. That always helped me a lot because you can actually see the hand in that position. Like, it's hard for me to get the fingers a lot of times, so I use that tip. Adding in the details on the pants. We're almost done inking this. Alright, now I'm going to go in with my eraser. I've heard, I don't know what this is actually called, but it came with a pencil set that I got, and I've heard that it pulls at the ink lines less, so it's better to use on that apparently, so I use it. You should let it dry, even though the Pigma Microns, they're more expensive of a pen, so they do dry a little bit faster and they tend to smudge less, but I'm still going to give it a couple seconds. Actually, I did the face early on in the chest, so I'll start going at that, but eventually I'll get to the pants. I'll do that last so that it works out. Just making sure it's not smudging. You don't want anything to take away from the drawing. It does look a little bit less full with all those extra sketch lines in there, without all those sketch lines, but hopefully the colors will add something to that. After you're done, oh, I missed a line. No, I want the 05. Missed this line here. There we go. After you're done erasing, you always want to go back and see if you, like, when you erased, if you, like, actually missed any of the lines to ink. Because sometimes you miss it, like, you just see it in pencil and you think, oh, that's colored in. So you always want to go back and check to make sure you did everything. My eraser is actually starting to crack. I probably need a new one. But it should get me through this piece. Ooh. No, that's actually it's actually funny, like you might not be able to see it, but sometimes like just the pencil, like it smudges onto the white paper, and like when you erase, you can see like the difference between the part that has been hit and then when you erased it. It's kind of cool. You want to make sure that you get every little spot of pencil, because once you go in with the markers like kind of trap the pencil under there, and then you can't erase it. If you do erase it, it would smudge all the markers, so you really want to get everything away. You don't want any leftover marks. That might actually be smudge. I might have smudged it just a little bit. Alright. Hopefully the marker covers that. Alright. Alright, so now we're on the colors. I'll just move these off to the side. I'm going to be using alcohol markers because they blend so nicely. Oh. I've got a 120 set. I use Ohuhu markers because they are cheap but still work very well. We're going to need stuff for the face. I'm going to start with the face. Got a little blank. That's just an index card just so that I can figure out what colors I need. I'm going to bring this over here. I like to use for the face This for a dark one, the Y4. And the R18. I'm going to use 3 shades for this face. I need one darker than Y. I'll use the Y10. Yeah, Ohuhu's like the most affordable good markers in my opinion. They're like less than $1. The 120 set was $100. So it's less than $1 marker. That's a really good deal compared to Copic or Copic, whatever it is, which are the most popular and apparently the best. I've never used them, so I don't know. But those are like $7 a piece. All right, so just make sure that I like these colors. I'm going to be just test them. Okay, that's good for my list. Second, yeah, it's kind of dark, but I've used this combination before, and it works out pretty well. For the darkest, yeah, that's too orange for me. I'm gonna try to get something that's a little bit more tannish. How's this salmon pink look? Ooh, I actually like that. I like that a lot. I'm gonna see how this one looks though. I might take out the Y4 and I'll use this combo. So I've got R18 for my lightest. That is the pastel peach. And I will start with that. So I'm just putting down a base layer for the face. I always use the lightest color first. You want to just cover the whole thing in the base layer. Most of the base layer actually you don't see in the end, but you still want to have it there. Being very careful to avoid the eyes. Going around them. It's actually not much of the face shown, so face colors are always the hardest to make because they have the most contrast in my opinion. Alright, so that's my base layer. Next, for the next layer, it's the salmon pink YR4. Yeah. I'm just going to scooch this over so that you can see my color palette. And he's facing this way, so that's where the light's coming in. So the light's coming from there, so it's going to be darker on this side of the face. So I'm pretty much going to just cover that whole side of the face. The really nice thing about alcohol markers is that they blend together. You can get like a really believable, cool tone on them. Under the mask, because there's some shadowing on the mask. There. And I'm going to leave that space the first color. Alright, now I'm going to go in with BR3, and it is Rose Beige. Put some of that in on the very edge and up there. I'm actually going to add a little bit more of the salmon in there. I'm going to darken up that. That's the beige. Just darken up that over there. So now the cool thing about the alcohol markers also is if you go back in with more of the marker, you want to go back in with your lighter shades, and you put more down, they will blend together. And the more alcohol you put down, the more they will blend. And you will get more of a constant tone. I'm gonna go back in with that and add just a little bit darker. I like the darkness of it. Because the more you put that, you can get like 3 shades with one marker because it's so cool. Do want to make sure like it overlaps just a little bit. I'm not that worried about that part because I'm going with darker blues than that. I am going to go in with the second lightest, my YR4. I'm going to hit this area. If you don't have all these colors, it's fine. You can improvise. Use what colors you have and try to get at least 2 shades of something. You can even do it with one marker if that's all you have. If you have like one skin tone marker, you can use just that and just like put down a very light layer, like just do one stroke of it, and then you put down more strokes in the areas that you want darker. But I'm just adding in those two on the ears, just those two, and then just these two on the eyes. All right, I'm done with the face. That is it for the skin tone. So now I'm gonna take the lightest gray that I have. I'm gonna take this back over here. The lightest gray that I have is Cool Gray 00. And that is very light. You can see right there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of shading on the eyes. Not very much. It's very subtle, like you can barely tell. But it is there. And then I'm just going to put a little bit on that A. Leaving just the top of it white. Just to give it a little bit of shadowing. Alright, now we're going to go in with the blues. I got to find what blues combo I want. So there's a lot of blues in this set. You can see them. But I gotta find which ones look good. I want that, like, classic blue on it. Maybe I'll do a pastel blue. This one, and I'll try all these. Okay. This is the B64. I'm just gonna try them out to see what I like on it. That's pretty good. I actually really like that. I'll probably use that as like one of my darker ones. That's even darker. I like that also. So those are, oh, maybe this one, hopefully. Yeah, it's a little too neon. Yeah, I like that. I want like a super light one though. What's the lightest one I have? Turquoise or cloud. Let's see how those look. Is that, that's like not the right light. I don't know. Ooh, I think I'm gonna go with that super light one. I'm just gonna barely leave any of it. So that'll be my combo for the blues. I'll start off with the BG68 turquoise blue. And I'm just covering the whole thing. Even though it's like not the right color for Captain America, that's fine because like he's not a turquoise blue guy, but you're barely gonna see any of that. That's just for those super light spots. Like I said, the light is hitting from this way. So you really want to portray that to make it look like real. Make sure to avoid those eyes. You don't want any blue getting in the skin color of the eyes because the blue is darker than the pastel peach. Just putting a very light layer of that down. Trying to keep a constant tone. Now for our second lightest, yeah, let's see. The PB8, that is something below. I can't read that one. And I'm just leaving a couple spots. I'm leaving just around this edge, and I'm gonna leave just a little area right there. And then, wait, I forgot a line. I just realized there's like a line here. Those of you who are looking at the image, you would have noticed it. There's like one of those lines there, like Captain America's lines that, and he's got like one of these coming in. Okay, that's cool. And so we're still going with the PB8. Just, there's one more spot that I want to stay light. And then after we do that, we'll just cover the whole rest of the face with that color. Actually, I want to leave that little stripe there that I just put in. I'll leave that super light also. And we will be going back in to blend this all together. Gotta get in between the A there. Make sure you don't get it in that white or light gray spot. Looking a little bit more like Captain America's color. Alright, now we're going in with our next darkest, which is the B64 Indian Blue. And we're going to hit up some of those other spots. Up on the top of here. It's getting a lot darker now. But that's good. All through here. I'm just actually staying on that line that I drew there. I want to really darken the bridge of the nose because there's a lot of shadow from the eyes up there. I'm actually going to put a little bit in there, just like that. And just on that line there. Okay. And now we're going with our darkest shade, which is the PB6 Royal Blue. Doesn't sound too dark, but it looks dark. And now we're just hitting on the darkest spots, like really just the spots that we want really dark. Under the nose there and on the bridge of that nose. And then on the top of the head and on this side of the A. Okay. So now we're going to go back in with the BG68, our lightest shade. And just put some more of it down just to blend it all together. Make it more of one constant shade than it's so popping out on all the different sides. And I'm gonna go back in with the PB8. Put a little bit into here. Darken that up just a little bit. And actually with the B64 also, I'm gonna hit that a little bit darker. Alright, we're gonna move down onto the neck. Most of this upper torso is blue, so we're gonna use a lot of these. So I'm just gonna put down the base shade for all of this. Up to that line where it would be the stripes is all blue. When I color in a big area, I like to go around the edges first, just so that I have a little bit of lines that I can follow. Okay, there's our base layer. Now going in with the PB8. Right around here. That's the only spot that I want on that part of the neck. And then right over there also, kind of going down on that line. And there's going to be some light spots right over here. And again up here. then one more right kind of in that area. Right. So now I can just color in that whole rest of that area. Okay. Now going in with the B64. Trying to stay out of that star the best I can. Okay. And that whole space is staying that color. Alright, now we're going with our darkest shade, the PB6. That outer ring of the star is that darkest shade, so make sure you get that really dark. It's supposed to be like prominently darker. And then on the neck, there's a little spot that I want like really dark. And down here on that line where it's like actually overlapping. Alright, now going back in with the BG68 to blend. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Also the shield, those low parts of the shield back there, those are just that same blue, even that little thing right there, that's all that same blue, so I'm gonna put down that base shade. There's not much shading. PB8. And on the B64, leave the rest of that little handle out. That little bump there. But you can actually go on the bottom of that, just leave like the tips of it out. Just to give that a little shadow. And then do the same thing for the PB6. There we go. I'll use that to blend that back in. Just make that a little bit darker. And on the other side, there's not as much shading. So I'm gonna go in with the PB. No, actually I'm gonna skip the PB8. Right to the B64. Just put that down. And then shade it back. Alright, now moving on to the star in the center of the chest. I'm going to be using the CG00 again. And I'll be also using the Cool Gray 2 for just a little bit of a darker shade. So we're going in with the Cool Gray 0. And we're pretty much going to cover that entire star. Since that's a very light shade, you can barely tell it's even there. And then on the other sides, actually, I want to put in a couple more lines. So I'm going to go back to my 0.5. I'm going to make it even like a more detailed star. Okay, that will actually just help me out with some guidelines, because now I'm going to go in with the 2. And you see, since he's facing that way, the light is going to be hitting over here, so this side's going to be shadowed. So you're going to put the darker part over there. And same with up there. And this one. That one. It's just adding some darker shades on there. Okay. Alright, going back in with the blue, we're going to move on to the shoulder guards over here. The first one, BG68, as always. Putting down that base layer. Always start with the base layer. On these shoulder guards, it's pretty easy, because all those like little guidelines there, that's pretty much what you're following for the darker areas. So this shouldn't be too hard. Okay. Spot. Now PB8. And we're going to hit all up here. And then this is going to be a light spot right there. And then another light spot on the edge of there, so like that. Now going in with the B64, just on that little part right here. Just doing that edge. Gonna go back in with the first one. Just blend it all. Okay, moving down, back with the PB8 onto here. Everything besides like a little strip right there. And right there. Okay. Now with the B64, you're gonna go along that whole line there. You want that really dark. We're actually gonna go along that again with the other one. And down here. Actually, this whole area. Besides that very edge. Up to there. Again, and on that little strip there. That. And then with our dark shade, these ones aren't too different, the B64 and the PB6. So you really want to put down an extra layer of it to make it a lot darker on those areas that is getting it. Don't want to just like put down one stroke and like, oh, I'm done. Going back in with the B68, just putting over another layer. Okay, there we go. Moving on, I'm gonna take that Cool Gray 00 again, because this little area is white, but it has some shading up through there. And then with the Cool Gray 2, just a little bit on the edge there. And then right here, this part, that part is also blue, so putting down our base layer again. Make sure you don't get the glove, because that is going to be red. We need to do a color palette for that in just a second. Ah, I got a little piece of the marker. I want to get down there. Okay. PB8. the B64. I'm putting just a little more spot right here. Okay. Going in with our darkest shade. There isn't actually much of the darkest. Remember, we're putting down an extra layer since those two aren't very similar. And back in with the 68. Okay. That arm is done. There's actually like a little part of the shield there, and then that part is blue. So we'll get that. I'm not going to do the reds and browns yet. I'll do that last because that's a whole different color set, and I'll have to make a new color palette. So there isn't actually any of that lightest shade, so I'm starting with the PB8 this time for that little shield spot. And then this little layer right there. And what other parts are blue of it? This little spot right on the edge. Okay. And now going in with our second darkest. And our very darkest. I'm going to blend with our lightest shade there. Okay, and I'll do the grays right now. Again, just using the Cool Gray 00 and the Cool Gray 2. Oh, I actually want to add some line. Use the thinner one, the number 2. And I am just adding some lines across here. Make sure they peak on that center line. Just do 3 of them. Okay. Before I go on to the 00, I put some back there. Then this one. Now with the Cool Gray 2, just on that very edge over there, that edge. Okay. There we go. Center that for you. And now we put on our base layer. Make sure this part, that is going to be brown, so make sure you don't get that. Just going into the base layer, and right there it stops. And that next part is white. And now with the PB8. Just moving up gradually one by one, lightest to darkest. Always start with your lightest. Okay. Going back in with the Cool Grays. I'm gonna go around that, but I'm actually gonna leave that little spot there white. And then the blues on this little spot right here. Again, I'm just working up in the colors, using the same form that we've been using. Okay. Now we're going to take the grays here and the belt buckle, that center belt buckle, kind of looks like an X. And this darker shade around them. I'm actually going to get one dark cool gray 4 or 5, whatever I have. Cool gray 4. Use. I'm just gonna hit that line right there, just to make it like makes it pop more. Can you see it popping a little more like that? All right, and now on to the pants. Putting down our base layer on the whole pants there. Okay, oops, sorry. Now with BB-8, it's actually not much that's going to stay that very light color. So you're essentially just going over everything again. That edge down there. Cool. Just kind of round it off at the bottom. If you have left more space, if you're not right at the bottom like I am, it's fine. You can just round it off like that. Or if you would like to add the feet, you can look at the picture. That will be a link to the description. And you can try to do the feet on yourself by yourself or not if you don't want to. Okay. Now with the B64, all these like little shapes, those are like pockets and stuff. And most of those are gonna get like fully colored in besides like a couple spots there. So this one's actually like a lot darker. And then like those centers parts, those are it's gonna stay that lighter color. Okay. With PB6 now. Just in those spots that you really want to be dark. Alright, going back in with our lightest shade and just blending it all together. And moving on to the browns. Try this one for the lightest. Okay. Just gonna get down a quick palette just so that I can see what more. I actually really like that one for maybe for my lightest. It's a very dark brown for this. Ooh, I like that also. Yeah, so I'm just gonna use those final 3. I'm gonna get rid of that first one. And pretty sure that was it. Yeah, that was it. Was it? I just gotta check something, sorry. Yeah, okay. So our lightest one is a Y12. And we're gonna click that on now. And the brown is just on the belt, on these spots, not the actual like handles of the pouches, but you can see what I'm gonna be covering it. Like just those spots, not the little pouch handles or whatever you want to call them. Those will be red, along with the stripes and gloves. Oh, and brown will also be the straps. Okay. Now with our next darkest one. This one isn't that much darker. Most of it is actually going to be the darkest shade. These pouches are really dark, a lot darker than you'd think. Not much difference between those two, but this one has a lot of contrast, as you can see. I'll need to do quite a bit of blending on that. Make it more of a constant tone. So we're in there with our lightest shade now. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. The second lightest was BR1, and the darkest was the Y13. Sorry about that. Again, if you don't have these, just improvise the best you can. Any like couple shades of brown, you don't even need 3, 2 will do fine. All right, now moving on to the straps. Straps are also brown. With our lightest shade, that's a Y12. And that part is also a strap. I actually forgot something. Going back in with the cool gray 00. That little buckle on that strap. I colored that fully in. Okay, we're done with that. So now with the BR1. Pretty much just going in the middle of it, that middle part, leaving out those outer edges. I just want that middle a lot darker. And then going in just one more layer, like just a thin line in the center with our darkest one. And there. Going back in with the Y12 for the blending. And on the other side, I'm just going to use the darkest. I'm not even going to go to the second layer. Just leaving a thin strip there. And like that. Alright, that's it for the browns. Moving on to the reds. Gotta make a color palette for those also. Got a lot of choices. This is also a very deep, dark red, brick red, maroon, whatever you want to call it, old red. That's my color palette. That's pretty bright and vibrant. Don't know if I like it. That's not bad. That's even darker. I like that. Probably gonna use that one. Yeah, that's, again, too bright. It's more of like that color is what the main shade will be. Okay, so I think I'll just use the first 3. That'll be my lightest. And those are R3 for my lightest. And everything else on there, these right here, those are going to be red. See, that looks very light right now compared to all the other stuff, so I'm going to definitely need to darken that up. These and the gloves will also be that color, but I'll do the gloves last. Okay. Now going with our next one, it's the R8. Kind of just leaving like right below those lines. A little bit of shade just to like make it pop just a little bit. That's why I put those lines in there. And over here, it's just like a little strip there. And that little center spot. Okay, now going with our darkest, which is the R7, Old Red. This is really what predominantly it should be. Like, that main color should be this dark. And you really want to put quite a bit of that down. Normally you don't want to put too much of the dark or too much of the light down. This one's almost all dark. Like, you're barely seeing any of the other two shades. Okay, and then those spots are a little bit too light, so I'm going to go back in and blend them in. Almost done. Just got the gloves, putting down that base layer now. Now with the R8. The gloves again are very dark, so you're not going to see much of the stuff that I'm putting down right now, especially the left one, since the light's coming from this way. So now going in with our R7, the darkest one. I'm actually going to blend with our R8 instead of the R3, our second darkest, just to even make it that much darker. Alright, that is it. That is Captain America. Hope you liked it. Hope you learned something in this drawing. And stay tuned for more. Hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications so that you can see whenever I post new tutorials. I will be posting a time-lapse version of this if you just want to watch me draw it. And stay tuned for more.